Hello, welcome back. We're doing a review for Assassin's Creed Unity, even though I'm outside the game. I'll get to the reasons why in a second. Just making sure the hydration level is kept to a potential maximum without the need to relieve said potential. Yeah, what I'm going to go through first off is actually one of the cons for the game, and it's how to go about fixing the broken tropes that the game has got. Now, I kind of went through this a little bit before, but we'll get to say, okay, you need to go through application save data management, save data in system storage, and then upload to online storage, or copy to, or both, or copy to USB storage device. Can't do that because none of them are plugged in, but and then navigate to find, which should be, if it goes by the last played game, not alphabetically, so it should be that you'll see Assassin's Creed Unity right at the top if you've just played the game. Go in and you'll find those 3 files. Those 3 are the ones you want to take off your system and put somewhere safe. Once you've done that, delete them off the PS4 system. Using the same thumb drive to transport them however you transported those 3 files, what you do then is play through the game to the point where the trophies should be broken and stop. Get those 3 files backed up that are currently on your PS4 off of your PS4 onto your thumb drive, or you can actually do that onto the cloud if you want to, whichever way, but nowhere near where your original protected files are. Navigate, then what you do is you fix the trophies how I showed you. You go through the action you need to do to get the trophies. If it doesn't work, you delete the save files on your PS4, operate off of your thumb drive's files, which takes all of about 7 seconds to get back onto your PS4. It takes about 20 to 30 minutes to export them off, but yeah, it's much easier to export them back on. And your trophy should pop, especially after patch 5. Then what you do is you do the entire thing in reverse. You take your 3 protected files and jam them back on there after deleting those. And away you go. And jobs are good. Your game then should load up with your 100%ed game that you've already got, and that's how you get your platinum. So, yeah, I've got the Order theme playing in the background. It's actually pretty cool. I like that. It's the best part of the game, actually. Not played the Order, I've seen a couple of videos for it. So, yeah. Now, going through the best parts of Unity is like looking in a mirror at the best and worst parts about Rogue. And it is identically done. Mirrored. The best and worst part... Oh, let's put that on before it tells me that I need to. The best and worst about Unity is that it is an exact mirror of Rogue. Everything that Rogue has going for it has very few cons. Unity has so few pros and oh my crap ton of cons. It's just... there's so much that's wrong with how the game's been implemented. 7 times I've tried to get this trimmed down. I'm going to have to blitz through getting all of this done because there's just so much stuff that's bad. Some of it's just little nitpicking about how the game operates. Some of it is just fundamental issues with how the game structures, and a lot of it feeds back to previous points. So I'm going to try to get through it as objectively, as unbiasedly, and as fast as possible. But before we go in there, just go through the pros. It looks absolutely fantastic. The game is just astounding once it loads. That is a pro and a con, one after the other. There we go. First, I mean, it's PlayStation 4. We should at least be able to see the characters. It's the second, but the second PlayStation 4 game that I've played, that has a loading screen that actually has a loading bar on the bottom. It's the first time I've seen a loading bar since PS2. So, now, the game itself is absolutely astoundingly beautiful. The graphics in cutscenes are pin sharp. The lighting, I mean, look at that. You can actually see sunbeams. Look at that. It's just, there's actual dust arriving out from there. If Arno walked through that puddle properly, you'd actually hear the change. The difference when you walk from one game texture to the other, the on-the-fly being able to travel to Versailles, wherever you want to go, it looks great. The individual little social event, this one, Scare the Bully, it's pretty cool. Crowd event, that's what I mean. There's not enough variety of those though. Invariably you're going to see Tackle the Thief more than you're going to see that one, and you're definitely going to see something else. These feed into something entirely different. Now those 4 dudes were animated and were doing their own little path. He's actually coming back to me now. They will do their own thing for quite some time. That leads to another thing entirely, which feeds into load time. So we'll go into that. The storyline for this is good. The main structure and skeleton of it is fantastic. It just, there isn't enough of it. There's just, it feels like it's you just want to, I just need more, but there's just nothing there. It's a good story, but just not enough to really chew at. Most of the story is actually told through the dynamic cutscenes that you see when you assassinate someone, not through stumbling upon something. The side quests that the game has got don't feed back into the main quest at all in any way, shape or form. In much the same way that the Black Flags is the worst thing about Black Flag was the side quests, that they don't feed back into the main Brotherhood, because Black Flag basically wasn't Brotherhood. So yeah. The dynamic helper quest, the crowd events that I just went through there, the weapons are nicely animated. That goes back to the general niceness of the game. Paris itself is a fantastic city to go around, nicely structured with different metropolitan areas, different rural areas, a militaristic area. This is a fantastic map. I love it. It works perfectly, aside from when it doesn't, and that's another thing I'll get to in a minute. But yeah, even over here, this individual little thing here, that little tent that I've just pointed to on the map, will actually be there in the game. So is this. I mean, all around here, it doesn't look as fantastically animated as you think, but everything that is realised in the game is then put into this 3D mesh of a map, and it is really nicely done. The fact that you can zoom out so far is a bit of an issue. I would have preferred maybe if they had the map to be slightly bigger, so as when you wanted to move around the map, make the cursor move a little bit quicker if it's going to be a little bit bigger for sure, but also remove the snapping. Whenever you want to move somewhere, invariably it snaps to somewhere else, and I don't know about you, but that's really annoying to me. But again, if that's the worst the game's got, then it's not got many problems. But that's pretty much where the praise for it stops. It looks fantastic, but it plays a bit dodgily. Now, let's see, 4 skill points. 2 seconds. Right, sorry. Just needed to illustrate a point with something else. Navigation. Let's go through the bad things. There are some glaring issues. I'm going to try and actually come just go through everything that feeds back to a main crux of what I wanted to say and get through it quickly. Navigation is a nice change, and it works perfectly with the way Paris is structured. Only problem is how the navigation actually works. Arno is the most sticky character of all the assassins. He's the worst for getting off stuff. Getting on things are really easy, but getting off, in some cases, it's harder to get him off something than it is to go through an open window, and that's saying something. Going through a ground floor window, piece of piss. Going through an open window up there, a nightmare. Unless you don't want to go through it. Because I can guarantee you something, whenever you don't want to go through an open window, you will, every single time. When you want to go through an open window, you never will. It's just, it's a fact of the game, and it's just something that you need to get used to knowing. Before you even play it, you will not go through an open window when you want to, but you will always go through an open window when you don't want to. And that feeds... I can't exactly say that it's a direct correlation with the loading and what happens, but the cells that the game's got that you can navigate through... Oh, we've got someone doing some stuff. There. Now, loading. Let's get straight to it. I'm going to try not to go off on too many tangents. There are a lot of little cells that are being animated. Also, Arno's gear dictates how Arno moves and behaves within certain circumstances. So that kind of high-profile assassination there will probably change depending on the gear that he's got on at the minute. Now, I always go for high stealth gear, so mine tends to be more sneaky. The individual cells, like these buildings that you can go into and navigate around, I'm not sure, but I think that they're individually animated inside. Whether or not they actually are, or what, I don't know. But there are some of them which I feel are a little bit unique, especially the ones that are the murder mystery ones. But in part, most of them I think will be recycled with a few differences between them. But there's a lot of them around. Now, loading also features these dudes. Now, what you can do, if I go down here, I've only got 2 shots because I've been doing so much of this and just not recycled my gear. Now, do this, and this, and that. Now, these guys will animate on their own path, which is fine. Now, I don't know if you can see over in that corner there. There are people being animated on that bridge. Now, that bridge is in a straight line 126 meters away. And then with a little bit of Pythagorean goodness, it's 136. So it's 151-ish meters away that they are still animating characters on the bridge. Now, the first tape that I did of this, I actually did exactly what I've just done, and I saw someone that I had scared from here actually disappearing over that bridge, and I saw them at that point just disappear into the mist. 130 or 35 meters away of animation that could be spent doing something else, such as improving the lag within the combat. There is a lot being animated in the game. All of the cells that you can go into, the individual pathing of the ads themselves, the ads pissing on walls and all that sort of stuff. And once they behave to how they behave to individual things at any given time is dynamically written into them. So all of these people are nice and calm and all that sort of stuff. If I drop that, not all of them will react. Some of them will, not all of them. If I use this, a stun grenade, maybe not. Whereas if I do this, and then run out of the way, Yeah, there you go. Now, all of them should be affected slightly, but not quite as well as I was expecting. But anyway, what will happen is that the individual pathing for how they randomly behave afterwards is also loaded into them. So there's just too much being loaded in the back, and how they animate is a big issue and feeds into one of the major things as well with the game itself. So that's 2 points that go back to the main part of it. I know the fact that the game looks so good is also part of the workload of the program itself. The amount of load that the game is having to load is perhaps too much. Maybe, I don't know. I think we might have actually reached the point where they're actually trying to do too much too soon with the PS4s or Xbox Ones. I don't know. Mission glitches. There are a couple of them with dumb AI and how the AI behaves. Broken trophies, gone through that. Companion app, the way that didn't work for a lot of people, the way it does work for... Well, I didn't find any issues with it, but I know some people did. Initiates. Wonderful system. 3 months later and down the line. That Initiates didn't work until midpoint through February. Game launched in November. It was down for 3 months. Solid. Good move. Missed the entire opening window for the game and getting all of the people into Initiates. And the club system. Because the club... They intended to get the club system to improve the duration for the length of time that people would be playing co-op and therefore the game. The problem is club system was down because of trying to fix Initiates, and because Initiates was down, it delayed the way the club system was actually employed. Essentially, missed the entire window for getting the maximum amount of throughput of people to buy stuff in the game. So essentially, they've missed tons of money. That's a big problem for them. Eagle Pulse, the way Eagle Vision actually works. I like this. And I really do mean I love the way Eagle Pulse works. The fact that you can use it when you're running, yeah. The way that it shines up everything on the map that is an ally, things that you can use, all that sort of jazz. The fact that you can't use it when you... Oh, how can I describe this? I would have preferred to see Eagle Pulse just pulse right out. And that be it. Everything with... Give it an absolutely massive range. But everything that you see around you, on the... If you can see it on the screen, it's mapped. That is how I would prefer it. And you can pop it every time. But... Get rid of the cooldown timer on it. That's all it needs. And maybe if you want to get rid of the cooldown timer, give people the inability to run with it. That's the only way to balance it out. But the way that it actually functions is really cool. I like the tactical way that it disappears. Not everything stays on your screen. You actually have to remember individual pathing if you don't want to keep it spammed. It's actually really cool. I like it a lot, but it's just that cooldown timer. That cooldown timer, man, it's just wrong. Helix. That Helix menu at the start of the game, before I get lost and forget to mention it again, the Helix menu at the start of the game, I genuinely thought that would be used to navigate through the individual bits of DLC, how the rifts were handled, how the sequences were done. I genuinely thought that would be how that was used. Was it used that way? Was it balls? It's just one filler piece of image, and that was it. Couldn't navigate through anything else. You pass over it, see the individual bits, couldn't do jack buggery with it. All you could do is go into Jacques de Malay's memory. And that was it. Nothing else. An astoundingly good UI. used once. And actually a good indication of what this game is all about at its core. Using good systems once, and in no way, shape or form adapting them beyond that one usage. And it's really bad. But the Helix, and then I'll get to something else afterwards, Helix credits should never be in the game. Now, you get 200, is it 100 for completing the game? You get 100 at the start of the game. You can get all of these without ever touching Helix. You only need these 3. You don't need the Nostradamus Enigma map, because they're individual quests. That you don't need that. You do need that. There's no two ways around it. You do need that. If you want to get all of the artifacts and all of the chests and everything, unless you really are slightly masochistic and want to go around the map all over the place, popping your eagle vision, praying for that cooldown timer to come down quick enough so that you can then go back into the game and start things up again, no, that's just that. No, it's just, you don't that's the worst thing about the map. The fact that all of the collectibles were not shown on the map. It's just a way to get cash into Uber's system, and you don't even need to do it because you can do it directly from the Helix credits you've got automatically. Whereas the fact that this is actually buried inside the time saver packs makes me think that they actually thought that they'd make money from people accidentally buying enough credits to get all of that crap. You don't need it. And you especially don't need it, which is a glaring example of why you don't, because the biggest pack that you could buy was 10,000. They've got an offer on at the minute. 40,000 Helix credits. So you buy 10,000 of them, you get 10,000 free, and then you get 20,000 as an extra because we really want you to buy it. We really do. I know exactly why they want you to buy that, and I think everyone else will know exactly why they want you to buy that, because they couldn't make any money off of that. That had to be a free DLC because the way that the game launched. This, Dead Kings, is another point. It feels exactly like Sequence 12 and 13 did from Assassin's Creed 2. Removed from the game to make money later, after the fact. This was scheduled to be a day one launch and paid for unless you'd brought the season pass, which incidentally has been scrapped because it's such a catastrophically bad launch. The amount of money that they've lost on not being able to release this when it was supposed to have been released, not being able to charge for it when it was supposed to be released, is just off the charts. It should have been probably going for about the same amount as this. I think on release it made 500,000 overnight, so that's what, £5 million thereabouts that they've missed in general sales. Because you would have had to get that straight off the bat. So yeah, and then the UI itself. Now, I know I've complained about it several times, but the placing of that should be on the other side above the minimap, because that UI there is not just for this. That UI is also for everything else. Now, this will go on top of that UI. There you go. And it takes up exactly the same room. It's pixel for pixel exactly above where the minimap is. Now, whenever you're doing a murder mystery and you're wanting to read the stuff, or you've picked up a newspaper, let's pick up this newspaper. This will be a perfect example. Right. I mean, look at that. How bad is that? You go over here. You just take a read of that. Take a read of that's quite good. Oh, that's pretty cool. And it just... What? But QA UI, people. QA your UI, because that is just astonishingly bad. I mean, how did that even get past release? You're cluttering up the... That could have gone easily to the other side, just above the minimap. An extended feature of the minimap could maybe make the minimap just go slightly bigger so as it fits in the UI underneath. What is wrong with that? Or increase the size of the minimap so as it takes full account of every bit of UI that could possibly go into it. I mean, seriously, what? No in-game challenges from the previous games, the previous two, Rogue or Black Flag. None of the challenges from the Abstergo end. They were fun. Yeah. Skill points. Now, skill points will feed to co-op, which feeds back to the social clubs, and that'll be how we finish off. Skill point system, how they've done... I've seen videos on how some people do the skill points in Watch Dogs. Seen skill point videos for Dragon Age. I've actually gone through some of the skill points in Dragon Age. I've seen skill points used effectively in Batman, Borderlands, Darksiders. Dead Space does it slightly differently. Mass Effect 1, 2, 3, Dragon Age 1, 2, 3, Enslaved, Far Cry 3. Even Ghostbusters does their skill points better than this game does. How skill points should work, to my mind, this is how the skill points in this game should have done. Every single skill that is under character customization here, every single one of them should be given directly. At this level, once you progress through sequence 4, every single one of these skills should be just plopped straight into your character. You can do everything, go nuts. You can use pistols, you can do assassin cash, you can do improved phantom blade, you can do poison gas bombs, money pouch, you can do stun grenades. We're going to give you the ability to do communal sense in co-op because people like doing that. Disguise, that's also funky. Apprentice, master, and journeyman locksmith because you need to do that. There is no point in having all of your map cluttered up to basically the final segment of the game. There is no reason for it. Roll recovery, because why not? It's just part of the initiates crap, which no one's going to do, so give it people that straight off the bat so they can get that experience out of the way. Environmental blending, because it's been part of the Assassin's Creed universe straight from the get-go. Let's give people the ability to do that. Oh wait, no, we're going to put it behind skill points. Stupid idiots. Double assassination, double air assassination, which should be the same thing. Ew. So, and health, we're going to give you an upgrade to your health every couple of sequences. That's fine. Instead, we've got this clusterfuck, and that's the nicest way I can say it, because it really is one of them. The not nice ways of saying it. I would have preferred the skill point system that they introduced be exactly what they've introduced, but I'm going to say, okay, you've got poison bombs. Wait until you get to sequence 5 and see what we can give you. If you're prepared to go through the co-op to get your skill points, we're going to give you poison bombs that will take down a brute. What is wrong with that? Entice. Carrot people to do it. Okay, we're giving you the ability to use a pistol. Why don't we give when you... okay, you can spot your target in normal vision. As soon as you go into eagle vision, you go straight in and zoom in. So instead of being out here and looking at something, you're going to be like you're up there and looking at something. Why didn't they do that? Smoke bombs that stun and incapacitate for longer. Stun grenades that do the same thing. Poison grenades that kill more effectively. Disguise that you can use while running. it would be a game breaker, but still. Communal sense, which goes a lot further and stays up for longer. Group healing, which essentially removes the ability to use medicine. That could have been game breaker, but they could have just made it for other people, not yourself.
Join the fight.
And that is how co-op should be used. Those guys should be all over the damn game all the time, and they be other people. Essentially, you see those assassins, maybe not with all that kind of animation around them, but you see those assassins everywhere. I'll get to this in a second. They should be everywhere. I was really hoping I'd see one of those in this take. That's just great. Yeah. And the co-op itself, the way that they've actually introduced it to get those skill points is slightly wrong, because the co-op, it doesn't quite function the way the co-op should. It does, but it doesn't. The way the co-op is structured itself is slightly wrong. The way the co-op works when you're in the co-op is great. It's lovely. It's great fun. The way the co-op should run, it shouldn't be restricted to missions. The way co-op should run in the game, you should see those assassins everywhere. So say I was stood here and I saw assassins running all over this bridge, jumping off there, going down into the assassin bit there. However they want to do it, so that it feels like an immersive world of assassins running all over the place. That's how they could have done the Brotherhood in this game. And they could have done that to such an extent that it felt like you're part of something bigger. And when you go to the social clubs, you can see those guys not just as the nameless assassin dudes that saves the animation, but as actual Arnos in the game. And you feel part of the greater initiates program that just isn't used. I mean, they've got the facility and the ability to be able to do that. That stuff is already in Ubisoft titles. It just hasn't been used in this game, and I can't for the life of me figure out why. The way they've gone about doing the co-op in this game feels like SOCOM 2. Fable 2 does its co-op better than this game. The potential for social link-ups, the way that they've actually gone about it is completely backwards. It feels more like focus groups have come in and said we want to do it this way, instead of actually doing it the right way. Inclusive, not segregationist. That's exactly what the way the co-op feels. A bolted on, segregated part of the game that is of no benefit to anyone, other than just funneling more people into the club competition system, because that's how you get your club competition up. If you're not part of one of the sectors that or clubs or club competition groups that has someone in the system cheating. If you've got a cheater on your system, then you're never going to get it, because I don't think you can leave the group of 6 that you're in. But essentially, that's pretty much everything. Now, the main part of it is that this game feels like a tech demo for everything that they can possibly chuck into a game to see what they can do. Graphics are fantastic, they really are. The animation is top-notch for what they've actually done. The navigation system is sort of okay. It's bad in places. It's sort of okay. The load time feeds back to the graphical load and the amount of cells that they're trying to institute into the game. Combat system feels like they actually tried to do a sort of Batman Arkham-verse-esque kind of combat system, and just failed miserably. If you can't do it, don't try. They had a perfectly functional system which worked, and worked well for how many games? Assassin's Creed 2, Brotherhood, Revelations, 3, Liberation, 4, Freedom Cry, and Rogue. a functional combat system which everyone was comfortable with, almost to the same extent that you were comfortable using Batman system. That spanned 8 iterations of Assassin's Creed. They've tried to do an Arkham-esque function, and actually it's worse. The club system, which missed the open window. Lack of multiple save files. Now it sounds really strange, but you can't actually exit back to the game's main menu and go into a different profile. It's a bit weird. You can't even stop the individual missions that are not part of the main sequence. You can't stop it and restart them because they're dynamic, which leads to many issues like I've had. I would have been able to show you all of the dynamic little cutscenes that you can see if I'd had the ability to have multiple save files running, but you can't because for some strange and bizarre reason they decided this is a save file. We've got terabytes of hard drive space. There is no excuse for not having multiple save files. There are many games around outside of Ubisoft that have multiple save files. Having one save file is just redundant stupidity. Social clubs not working the way that they should, the co-op system, the way that that's been implemented, and the skill point system, which basically feels like they had an RPG team come in and say, you need skill points, and they did it this way and got it completely wrong. All of that feeds back into the fact that they're trying to do a lot to please the higher-ups to say, look at what we can do in the game, and they've all said, yeah, fine, rather than saying, don't you think you're doing a little bit too much and trying to do a bit too much? Why don't we try and see what works? If it works well, keep it in for the next title and try something else. If that doesn't work, we can always do something different in the next one. That's exactly why no Assassin's Creed after Revelations has a tower defense game in it. But every other game, from Brotherhood through to Rogue, has had the Mediterranean defense sort of game in it. Every single one of them. It's a nice, simple little game that you can do. It's essentially what the companion app is in this, but the way that they went about the companion app in this game was just crap. This game falls down on trying to be too much. It's tried to get everything crammed into it and has resulted in too much load going through, which has produced a game of just poor quality. It's Assassin's Creed in name only because it features the Brotherhood, has the hidden blade, and has the hood. If not for that, this would be one of the nameless release titles for, actually post-release titles for a PS4, which graphically looks good, that plays stunningly badly, and that no one will even pick up in a bargain basement inside of 6 months after release. That sounds kind of like the Order, and that's exactly where this game's headed. Black Flag, if you try and purchase Black Flag now, you can probably pick Black Flag up cheapest that you can see it for maybe £5. About 3 years after release. Is it 3 years? Yeah, we're actually into the 3rd year of release. This, in in bargain basements, is already approaching £10. And they can't shift it because people don't want to buy it. They don't want to buy it pre-owned because it is absolute and complete garbage. Once you get past the fact that it looks good, it's crap. It's a fantastic story. It's a fantastic looking game that just happens to be utter garbage underneath it, and that's the big problem. Review score for this, like I did for Rogue, it is a best a 6 out of 10 on a good day. And there aren't many of those. The good days are when you progress through a sequence, or you finish off doing collectibles, or you know that you're actually got one more sequence to go until you finish the game and you're just powering through it. That's a good day. The rest of the days, it's a wonder the disc manages to get back into the tray before you want to snap it. It's that bad. So, a 2 out of 10 on actually a 1 out of 10 on a bad day, and a 5 or a 6 on a good day. Somewhere in between. This game figures out being about a 3-star, which bears out to be what a lot of people say about the game, which is really, really bad, because this had so much potential and they just didn't. I mean, Destiny, the tower, which is what the social club should have been. The cafe could have been the tower for this game. It just wasn't done. It's worse for them actually not for them trying to do the stuff that they've done and failing really badly than not even trying to put it in at all and just not even attempting it. That's just the way I feel about it. If you agree with what I said, the comments are down below. If you don't agree with what I said, again, comments are down below. And thank you for watching, and I cannot wait to take this disc out of my console for the last time until the ubiquitous next DLC pack comes out. If the next DLC pack comes out, when the next DLC pack comes out, I'll more than likely do it to get it done, but it will be as quickly as is possible to get it done. Hopefully it'll be in Paris and slightly differently themed. It would be nice to see something from the Templar side of things. Maybe. It would be nice to play as Shay, actually. His actual mission to assassinate Charles at the start of this game would be kind of cool. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Right, that's my review for this. If you like what you've heard, please leave a comment, a rate and subscribe. If you also tune back to my channel, because I've got a crap ton of Assassin's Creed on there, and it's actually come to the end. No Assassin's Creed on my channel until November, so I've got an open window to put loads of stuff on my channel. Yay! Right, thank you for watching, and I'll be back next time with more stuff, so I'll see you in a bit.